Is that better now?
Yes.
Now I can't hear you.
I think we're ready to go, Chair.
Has Planner Spencer joined us as well?
She will be shortly, probably by the time we get through the election.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Well, all right. Well, good morning. I'm Tom Hutchinson, Chair of the Committee of Adjustment. Item number 1 on the agenda is we're going to be calling the meeting to order. This is the February 18th, 2021 Committee of Adjustment meeting. We do have quorum as indicated with the committee members login. Member Hurd does send her regrets. For this meeting, we are using both audio and video. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the West Grey website at www.westgrey.com. The technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Grey staff. Please refrain from clicking buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. And before we continue, I'm asking Supervisor Cody Hewlett to provide an overview of some of the other key points for this meeting. Supervisor Hewlett.
Good morning and thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the meeting ID 89196523908. Both members of committee and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hand on camera to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance throughout the meeting, you can send a chat message to myself, Cody Hewlett, Recreation Supervisor, and I will attempt to assist you. As well, I would also like to make note that there is an electronic registry for this meeting located online with myself. If you would like to be notified of any properties discussed in this meeting, you can please send an email with your full name and mailing address to myself. Simply submitting your name or email is not enough. It must include a full mailing address, which I will drop my email in the chat so that you can have that to email me. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hewlett. That takes us to item number 2. We do have we do this annually as an election of the chair and vice chair. So at this time, I am going to hand the chair over to Clerk Scharback, and we'll go from there. We'll be calling for nominations for both chair and vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hutchinson. We'll proceed with an election. Our Deputy Secretary Treasurer to the committee, Lindsay Glazier, is going to proceed with that election process, calling for nominations from the floor, first for the position of chair, and following that appointment, then for the position of vice chair as well. So Lindsay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Secretary Treasurer Scharback. I will now call for nominations from the floor for the position of chair for the first time. Please raise your hand to nominate a member. Mayor Christine Robinson.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Deputy Mayor Tom Hutchinson for the position of chair of the Committee of Adjustment. Thank you.
Perfect. And Deputy Mayor Hutchinson, will you accept this nomination? Will you serve in the position of chair if elected?
This is Deputy Mayor Hutchinson. I will gracefully accept the chair position.
I will now call for nominations from the floor for the position of chair for a second time. Seeing none, I will now call for nominations from the floor for a third and final time. Okay. Seeing none, and there being no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed. Since there is only one member, I will not call for a vote. So, or will I call for a vote? I still have to, no, okay.
We can do the recommendation now.
Perfect,
Lindsay?
Okay. So I would need a mover and a seconder for the position of the deputy mayor taking the position of chair. Councillor Townsend, do you move?
Yes, Councillor Townsend, I would move that the recommendation That'll be accepted.
And can I get a seconder? Member Robinson?
Yes, I would second the recommendation that Deputy Mayor Tom Hutchinson is hereby appointed to the position of chair for the West Grey Committee of Adjustment. Thank you.
Perfect. And that was, I would say, a good summary of what it is that we're voting on. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor? It's 4 members, and I believe that's everybody. So all those opposed? Okay, so the motion is carried. And I will pass the chair back to Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Excuse me. So that puts us on to the second item where we'll be looking for the vice chair, election of the vice chair.
Excuse me.
Member Robinson?
My preference, I'm just putting this out to the committee, would be that Deputy Treasurer Lindsay Glazier conduct the vice chair elections. Would that be a possibility? And I just look to the clerk for that.
Clerk Charbeck? I thought we were going to complete the entire, both the chair and vice chair before we assumed the balance of the meeting, but I'll
Yes,
defer to Clerk Charbeck.
we'll proceed with the vice chair position. So now that you are in the chair's position, Deputy Mayor, you can proceed with calling for nominations. If you'd like to make a nomination, would you like Lindsay to proceed with the calling of nominations?
Okay, well, thank you very much for the clarity.
Okay, thank you.
As chair, I would like to nominate Member Hutchinson as vice chair.
Okay.
So would you like me to take that over, Clerk Charbeck? Or
Yes, please.
Okay. So carry on, Lindsay. There's one nomination for vice chair, and that is Doug Hutchinson.
from Deputy.
So if you could call for nominations for a second and third time, and then we'll do the vote, the recommendation.
I will now call for this nominations from the floor for vice chair for a second time for the Committee of Adjustment. Seeing none. I will now call for recommendations for vice chair, or nominations from vice chair from the floor for a third and final time. Okay. Seeing none. Member Hutchinson, do you accept the position of vice chair if elected?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I will now ask for a mover. Member Robinson?
Yes, I will move that Councillor Doug Hutchinson is hereby appointed to the position of vice chair for the West Grey Committee of Adjustment. Thank you.
Perfect. And Deputy Mayor?
And
Chair
I will
Hutchinson?
second that motion.
Okay. And I will now call the vote. Okay. For everyone in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. All 4 members have voted in favor. So that has been carried. And I will pass the chair back to the Deputy Mayor now.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Okay, so that moves us on to item number 3, and that is the purpose of the meeting. Clerk Charbeck, please provide your comments.
Through you, Chair, the purpose of today's meeting is to review an application for a minor variance that had been deferred at the January Committee of Adjustment meeting. It was deferred until such time as the property lines could be clarified and confirmed. This is the decision the committee makes today to approve or deny will be followed up with a decision signed by members and sent out to all parties. And If, as Cody mentioned, if anybody would like to be informed of the decision in writing, they are to advise Cody Hewlett by email of their contact information to be included in that decision, or if they want to have the opportunity at a future date to appeal the decision to the LPAT. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item number 4. Members of the committee, are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? If you could raise your hand. And I do not see any members. Please remember that you can declare at any time during the meeting if one should arise. On to item number 5 is the approval of the minutes. And 5.1 is the minutes of January the 18th, 2021 meeting. Clerk Scharbeck, could you please read the recommendation?
Through you, Chair, the recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes of January 18th, 2021 as circulated.
Thank you. Is there any comments or questions from the committee members? Member Townsend.
I was just going to move that the motion as read by the clerk.
I'm sorry, Member Townsend, I couldn't hear you.
I said I was moving the motion to as read by the clerk.
Okay, so you have no comments or questions, you just want to move?
That's correct.
Thank you. And Member Hutchinson?
All right, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Is there any comments or questions from the members? So we'll call the question. All those in favor just indicate by raising your hand. And I see all 4 members are in favor, none opposed. That motion is carried. Okay, item number 6. Minor variance application A06 2020 Levitt 503 862 Gray Road 12. Geographic Township of Glen Elg, Part Lot 9, Concession 12. 6.1 is the application number A06 2020 Levitt. 6.1.1 is the sketch of the property lines. Planner Spencer, if you could please read, I'm going to include this in your report, which would include 6.2, 6.3, inclusive of 6.3.1, 6.3.2, and 6.3.3. Planner Spencer?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose and effect of this application is to vary the provisions of Section 8.2.4D of the municipality's comprehensive zoning bylaw to permit an accessory structure with a distance of plus or minus 3.05 meters, equivalent to 10 feet from the interior lot line, whereas 15.2 meters, 49.9 feet is required, the effect of which would permit the placement of an accessory structure for storage purposes. Prior to the deferral, as part of the last application, following that, the applicant has now provided a complete survey of the property and verified that the accessory structure is 3.09 meters from the interior lot line. Again, the minor variance is still required, but this has been verified by survey. The recommendation stands from the previous planning report for approval of the application. Nothing further.
Thank you, Planner Spencer. Okay, that takes us to item 6.4 is the verbal comments. There's 2 parts of this where the committee members will speak first, and then we'll go to the public. 6.4.1 is the committee comments. Committee members, is there any, this is your opportunity to speak or have any questions that you may, we can get some clarification on those now. So is there any members of the committee who would like to speak to this or have any questions?
Again,
Member Hutchinson?
yeah, just a thought. I think now that we have a survey that clarifies the lot lines, that hopefully that will resolve the issue. I know it's an expense to the applicant, but I think it's important that we get that cleared up and that we don't have any misunderstanding from the surrounding members of that area. So yeah, thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee members? I don't see any hands up. So that will take us to 6.4.2, and that's the members of the public. Again, this has two portions to it. So the first one, anybody would like to speak in favor of the application, we would call on them first, and then we would move on to the second part, would be anybody that would like to speak in opposition. So at this time, we'll be looking for anybody who would like to speak in favor of it. And Supervisor Hewlett, have you received any indication, anybody on standby that would like to speak to this?
My apologies, Mr. Chair. Your audio had cut out on my end. I do believe you're making reference to any members of the public wishing to speak. I do see one individual with their hand raised on camera.
Hi, sorry. Can I speak now?
Yeah, just, excuse me, please just state your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Jerry Lynn Levitt. I'm the applicant, and I would just like to speak in support of the application. We did as the committee recommended and had the full survey done, which I supplied to the committee, showing the lot lines almost exact as per the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hewlett, do you see any other members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I do not see any other members of the public wishing to speak.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize, my audio is very low today, so I'm just a little hesitant trying to hear you. That would take us to the next portion. And this was anybody in the public that would like to speak in opposition or against this application. And again, I'm going to go back to Supervisor Hewlett.
Any members of the public wishing to speak in opposition to this application may do so by either sending a chat message to myself, or if you are joined us over the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. At this time, Mr. Chair, I'm not seeing any members of the public wishing to speak. My apologies, I have received a chat message from Negermark, who would like to speak in opposition. I can unmute them at your.
Can I speak now?
Supervisor Hewlett, I wonder if you could send me a chat. I apologize, my audio is pretty much nil. I didn't hear if there was somebody that wanted to speak opposed to this. If you could just text or at least send on the chat.
There is
adjust my my audio
May I
now in case I
speak?
get dropped.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hi, this is Genevieve speaking. We can hear you. Our chair is just having, sorting out some trouble with his audio. If you could wait one moment, he'll let you know when you can proceed, okay? Give us
Sure,
a minute.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Clerk Jarbeck. So I just, we do have one individual, so please state your name for the record, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Negar Mohamed Khorasani, and I am the west neighboring property of the subject property for the application. A few things I would like to mention. First of all, I received this sketch by mail with the letter West Grey sent me. This, whatever you want to call it, is not a legitimate document, since it has no name, no units of measure, no legend, no variable reference. So it's really, if I wanted to produce such thing at home, I could do a better job. So this is something really confusing and not presentable in any legal procedure. It's not even clear to understand. That's point number one. In our region, with large parcels, each being 50 acre, 100 acre, it sounds kind of questionable why a structure that has no foundation needs to be built close to the property line and breaking the basically setback bylaw. This is something that I cannot figure out why it has to be this way. Out of all the 50 acre, they have to build it very close to my property. The other point is, if they would apply for permit, a proper permit, when they were building this, would you grant that permit in such situation, location? And my number 4 point is, based on minor variance cases, usually there is a practice that goes ahead with any region, and based on the, let's say, the surface of the properties or the size of them, they may go, okay, 1/3 of that bylaw distance could be acceptable. However, in this case, there is a conflict. The measure you are showing is 3, I'm not sure 3 what. Is it 3 yards? Is it 3 meter? Because it doesn't say what's that in the plan that you sent. In my measurement, what I find is 3 feet. So if this tree is 3 feet that I measured, then there's no conflict. We are talking about the same thing. However, 3 feet is much, much, much less than even 1/3 of the bylaw setback that we're talking about. So what is this measure? What's the point of interest, the point of reference? And then could you provide a proof of that measure? Because I don't see any point of reference. I have a picture of what I measure, and I can provide that picture that it shows the measurement and the point of reference. And then after that, I want to wrap it up with one last thing, that there is a simple solution to such a case rather than these meetings, and that's moving the shed to the proper place, because there is no really hassle to that. There's no foundation, there's no digging. They just need to move the shed. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Planner Spencer, do you have any comments for this, please?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So the application for a minor variance has to meet the 4 tests as outlined in my planning report, which has been defined as in my professional recommendation that this minor variance is acceptable. The individuals are trying to rectify a situation where the structure was constructed before they purchased the property 5 years ago. The plan of survey provided is 3.09 meters, and that plan of survey is signed by a surveyor, and that has been provided to the committee in the portion of the property that's applicable for this particular circumstance. My professional recommendation is for a committee to approve the application.
Thank you. Any follow-up?
May I speak?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So based on the documents I received, there is no date, name, signature, or units of measure in the documents you sent me. So if that's what you have and you are referring to, this is not really acceptable. That's number 1. Number 2 is the shed was rebuilt by these people, not before them. They tear down whatever it was there. It was a different location. This is a new shed being built.
Planner Spencer?
We don't typically, through you, Mr. Chair, typically provide an entire lot survey. And typically we don't require a survey. It's the applicant's responsibility to provide a sketch. This is signed by a surveyor. I believe the document is completely accessible. People are permitted to rebuild structures and repair them with or without going through a variance process. I believe this is meeting the 4 tests of variance. And again, I recommend committee for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Spencer. Do you have a final comment or follow-up?
So may I speak?
Yes, I've called on you.
So I don't understand understand why the measurement that I do from that point of reference is different with what is provided here. Can we examine this on site and make sure we are talking about the same thing? Because my measurement is 3 feet. This is talking about 10 feet.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Planner Spencer, do you have any closing comments on this?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. This is a document that's been completed by a surveyor, so that is the boundary, and that is the official number from the lot line boundary to the existing accessory structure.
Okay, thank you, Planner Spencer.
Point of order, Chair. Oh, we lost your mic there, Chair.
I'm trying to keep it off with the echo. Thank you very much, Member Hutchinson.
Point of order. I did see the Levitt, Jerry Lee Levitt. I did see her hand up there for a moment. Maybe she wishes to speak and to clarify some points.
Okay, well, go ahead, Ms. Levitt.
Thank you.
We just, are you speaking in favor or opposition?
In favor. I was just going to reiterate Planner Spencer's comment that the survey would be the end all. That was what was asked of us, is to prove those lot lines. So a survey would outweigh a measurement, in my opinion, a science.
In my side, survey has no name, no date, no measuring point, nothing. What I received is something I could make at home.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. Planner Spencer, you have no follow-up, or do you?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Again, we have received a full and complete survey that has been stamped and sealed by a registered Ontario land surveyor. The document is accurate and has been provided in portion to the committee, as we typically would not provide a complete survey for any application going forward unless clarification was required. In this particular circumstance, we have provided the appropriate components, and it's been signed and sealed and is a legal document. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Planner.
My last, would you guarantee or warrant?
You're on mute. You'd have to unmute yourself for your final comments, please.
So final comment is, what you are saying, can you warranty and is legitimate for the court in case I need to provide that in the court?
Planner Spencer?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. It's a legal document. So yes, if that necessarily needed to happen, again, that's up to the discretion of the committee and their decision, but that document is legal and has been registered, signed and sealed by an Ontario land surveyor. Thank you.
Thank you. I take my your word for that.
Thank you. I believe Clerk Sharvik has a comment.
Just for clarification, the survey, the full survey won't be provided to somebody other than the property owner. They've purchased that survey, so the land surveyors of Ontario request that we don't just share them. Although anybody could ask the landowners for that surveyor or purchase the survey from an Ontario land surveyor. But the full survey won't be shared by West Grey.
Thank you, Clerk Sharvik. Okay, we are at the 6.5 is the decision portion. And I would be looking to see which direction the committee would like to take with this application. And I see Member Townsend has his hand up. Member Townsend?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I was going to say, given that we have all the documentation as requested from the last committee meeting, and everyone has had an opportunity to express their support or not. So I would like to move that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves the minor variance application number A06-2020 Levitt, because they have met all the requirements of the committee.
Thank you, Member Townsend. I'd be looking for a seconder, please. Member Hutchinson, are you seconding this motion?
Yes, Member Hutchinson, I second the motion.
Thank you. Clerk Jarbeck, could you please read the recommendation before us?
The recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approve minor variance application number A06-2020 Levitt for the reasons as set out in the planner's report.
Comments or questions from the committee? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I see 4 members of the committee are in favor, and that'll be none opposed, and motion would be carried. Thank you. 6.6, excuse me, Clerk Jarbeck, what would be the next steps, please?
Through you, Chair, the next step is for the property owner to wait for the 20-day appeal period to pass. If there are no appeals to LPAT, then they can, on that, after the appeal period passes, they can proceed with the building permit if required. And they would definitely have a legal structure on their property.
Thank you. Okay, item number 7. Back to Clerk Jarbeck. Is there a date? I did not see one. I just wanted some updated information.
I don't have a date for the next meeting. I will send that out. Planner Spencer and I'll talk about a next date, and she can review applications that are coming in now and what date that they might be ready for a future meeting. So it'll be to be determined.
Thank you. We will stand by for that information to come out. And we are on item number 8 now, and this would be the adjournment, and I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn. If I could get a mover, please. Member Hutchinson, are you moving to adjourn?
Yes, I move the adjournment.
Thank you. And could I get a seconder? Member Robinson, would you be seconding this motion?
Yes, I will second the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Clerk Jarbeck, could you please read the recommendation before us?
Through you, Chair, the recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment hereby closes this public meeting at 10:37 a.m.
Thank you very much. We'll call the motion. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I see all 4 members are in favor of this motion, so there'll be none opposed. Motion's carried, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much. I just want to say that stay connected. Subscribe today to receive news and notices from our website at www.westgrey.com/subscribe, and you can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook at Our West Grey. Everybody have a wonderful day, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.